All right, it's Las Vegas Triathlon Club member spotlight night. I'm John Mercer, president of Las Vegas Tri Club, and I actually have a distinguished group here. I've got Bob Gamble, our co-host, board member of the Las Vegas Triathlon Club as well. Hey, Bob, how's it going? And you keep disappearing.
Yeah, pretty good right now if I can get my phone to work.
And
But yeah, I'm doing
Bob
fine.
and
And
I,
happy birthday there, President.
yeah, thanks. And Bob and I are having an argument before we start. It's not an argument, but we sound like an old couple trying to get his video going. Come on.
Yeah, I think it's working.
That's awesome.
All
And
right.
we've got Matt Olson as our member spotlight. And this is the second time Matt's on. But Matt is the vice president of Las Vegas Tri Club. So we got a mini board meeting. And I obviously did not get the memo in terms of what to wear tonight.
I know you didn't. It's like Matt and I are all hooked up. We're good. We're good. You like I said, you didn't
I,
like you said, you didn't get the memo.
I feel like that which one of these kids is doing his own thing or whatever that little song is that goes along with
Yeah.
that. So this is great. Matt, this is great to have you on. Thanks for joining us. But before we get into hearing from you, I'm going to turn it over to Bob Gamble for the official introduction.
Thank you, sir. And happy birthday again. Um, like John said, we have Matt here tonight. And the reason we have Matt Olson here is because he was our point series winner for 2021. And we're going to talk about the point series, and we're also going to talk about his all-world athlete status, top 5% of all the athletes in his age group, but we'll get to that in a second. But before we do, Matt's been with the club for since 2018, did his first triathlon in 2016 or 2016, and has obviously come quite a long way in, besides being our point winner, become an all-world athlete. So we're going to ask him, talk to him about his training and how he got there and his season last year and what he's got planned for 2022. So welcome, Matt. Glad to have you here, and congratulations on both the all-world athlete and the point series winner. So just to get us started, tell us about your season last year. What how did the races stack up, and how did you come out on top?
Yeah, I mean, I had a great season last year. It was a lot of fun. It was probably my best season I've had in Las Vegas, and dealing with the heat and training and getting used to it. I started out with some of the club races, and we had deferred our full Ironman from the year prior in Arizona due to cancellation to California of last year. So, I mean, that was our main focus for the year. So, and everything else kind of just filled in, the gaps, and got to test our abilities along the way to the full. Yeah, it was great. I did a bunch of club races, did a couple of races here and there, and then was able to do 3 70.3s before California.
Before I am California.
Correct, which ended up being canceled.
Boy, that leads me to a whole bunch of questions here. You did everything from sprints up through Ironman. So how did that all blend together in one season?
I mean, it went really well, actually, because a lot of my beginning training before long races, a lot of high intensity stuff, a lot of sprinting, a lot of hills, a lot of big gear bike work, stuff like that.
Even for the longer races.
Yes, so I start with that, and then I work my volume up as I get closer to the race, and then I lower the intensity. So like right now we're in the process of training for Texas, which is in the end of April. We just a couple weeks ago kind of finished our higher intensity training, and last 2 weeks ago we started our build. So from now on, we started our build at an hour run, couple hour bike, stuff like that. Now we're going to drop that intensity down, and we're going to start to build our volume slowly up until the race.
That's interesting. And I actually, this is showing my ignorance, but I thought it was the other way around. I thought you would actually build your volume, build your base, and then go into your intense work, preparing for the workout, preparing for the race.
So there's a million schools of thought on training, obviously, and things that work for everybody, but there's polarization and there's reverse polarization. which are exactly what you were saying and what I do, but opposite.
Okay.
Yeah, we actually, Ted and I actually talked about the different ways to do periodization on our, I'll put a plug in for our evidence-based triathlon podcast. And so, yeah, there is there's a couple of different ways to do it. So, yeah, talk a little bit more about how you plan out your season of training then.
Yeah, I mean, so everyone has their A race. Ours was California last year. So like I said, we set California, and then we basically sit down and say, hey, what races do we want to do this year? And there was a couple that caught our eye. Oregon was one of them. St. George, technically we deferred our Arizona to St. George half and then registered for California. So we chose St. George because it's such a fun race. Because
You love the climb.
it's just logistically easy. It's a 2-hour drive from Vegas. Airbnbs are easy. Friends and family are always there. The course it's tough. It's a hard course. I got my butt kicked by it twice last year. But it just worked out really well for us. And Oregon, the Pacific Northwest is gorgeous. We've always wanted to go up there. We raced Bend Duathlon Nationals in 2017, I believe, which we loved it up there. It was great. So we decided we wanted to go back up for the half.
Mm-hmm. Now, two questions about your 70.3s. You did 3 of them last year, right?
Yep.
And 2 questions about them. What was your fastest, and then what was your favorite course? And was the fastest on your favorite course or not?
No. Well, so I did. It's so tough because each one was so different. It was I did St. George first in May. I went in, unfortunately, semi-injured. I was really trying to break 5 hours on the St. George course, and a couple of weeks out, running, I got myself pretty good. So I basically stopped training. I just stopped training for 2 weeks.
Can I ask what you hurt?
It was my knee.
Your knee?
Yeah, my knee and I have a really love-hate relationship.
Meniscus?
So,
meniscus in there or muscles?
Yeah, well, it's a lot of it's patellofemoral and issues associated with that. Some of it has to deal with just how much strain I put on it in general. And if things aren't perfect, you start to get that little niggle and that grows, and you don't listen to it until you have to, and then you start stretching and all of that. So
it sounds good. I love it that you actually stopped whenever it started.
Yeah. So something we've learned over the years: if you got an injury and you got something coming up, just stop. Give your body as much time as possible to heal or recover. If you're going to continue and do the race, just take a break. Get your stretching
John,
in.
I'm listening.
Get in the hot tub. Get the ice on it. Get whatever you believe in that helps you, and go from there. Luckily, when I got to St. George, it didn't really bother me until really late in the run, which was good. So, and I had to deal with the repercussions, after the race, but that, no one worries about after the race. It's just getting through the race.
Now, when you can see the finish line, it's hard to hold back. It's hard you can't stop.
Yeah. So I ended up I think I did like a 5:14 at St. George. I was pretty disappointed because up to that, I thought I could, do a little bit better. And then our next race was Oregon.
That's still that bike course. You can't. That's not a PR course.
Yeah.
Well, and that's a tough run course, especially with a particular knee injury. So
as well.
Yeah. Especially when you come pounding down the hills, and your knees and calves are all screaming at you, and So.
Okay, so that was St. George, and what was your faster course?
So Oregon. Anyone that knows me knows I hate to swim.
I love the way your face lit up and your smile got real big when you said Oregon. So it must be a nice course.
I'm not a swimmer. I don't claim to be a swimmer. I don't swim. I do the minimum to maintain my fitness, and that's it. And Oregon's a downriver swim, and it's a fast downriver swim, like in the low 20s for time, and you don't even have to really push.
Oh, good grief.
So yeah, I think I came out in like 23 or 24 minutes out of the swim, which was, it was great. You basically just, there's a portion of it that's about a foot deep maybe, and you just lay out as flat as you can, and you just pray that you don't drag your nose on the ground. And you're just flying through the water. And then, you get kicked out kind of into this big wide river. You swim right in the middle. You're not supposed to, they want you to hug the inside, but you swim right in the middle and it has the faster current. And then you come out, you run up a decent hill, and then the rest of the courses, it's a nice, pretty moderate course, The bike course is pretty flat, has a couple little punchy hills when you're leaving town. The rest is out in like farm vineyard area. And then the run can be a little rough because there are some portions, about 4 miles probably, of gravel. And there's some steep downhill in the gravel, and some things hopefully they're going to fix for this upcoming year. But I ended up doing, I think I did like a 450 and change at Oregon.
That just sounds so impressive, though. You're under, when you start with the 4.
yeah, that was my goal.
Awesome.
My goal of last year was just to break 5, because I've had some experiences in 70.3 where I've done some tough courses and I've been chewed up and spit out. So I've been well into the 6s, and my goal was just to break 5 hours. So at that course it was tough because I had a little bit of assistance. I maybe could have, with the river, I maybe could have broken 5 hours without it if I would have put in a little bit more training, and planned out my nutrition a little bit better. But it was enough to qualify me for 70.3 Worlds. So I was pretty happy with that.
Wow. Oh, congratulations there too. I hope, John, if you don't mind, what was the nutrition that you figured out? Because that's something that's near and dear to not only my heart. I know it's a lot of other.
No, I didn't figure it out. That was the problem.
Well. What's that?
I said I didn't figure it out. That was the problem. I'm a really, really, really heavy salty sweater, and I have a really hard time staying hydrated. I'll go through a full bottle of water in 3 miles easy.
Oh, geez.
And I just can't keep up usually with myself. And then, but I did really find a love for Morton's last year. A lot of people love them, a lot of people hate them just because of texture and stuff. They just work for me. So
the gels or the bottles?
I do the gels.
Okay. Yeah, I can't handle the Morton gels. They're like,
yeah. See, some people dislike it. I like to take a bite and I chew on it.
Yeah,
so it's just some people love it, some people hate it. It just worked for me. So
so that's good. That's good to know. A lot of other people will probably want to hear that as well. Your Morton should contact you and give you a couple of free samples for that.
Yeah, if only, because it's not cheap. I'll tell you that.
No, it's not.
I bought it in bulk, and I spent over $100 on 3 boxes of it last year. It's it's not cheap gel. So
well, cool. John, what questions you have about the 2021?
Well, I love the discussion on the all-world athlete. I think that's super impressive to get that silver status. That means you're being competitive, and congratulations on qualifying for Worlds. That's going to be St. George Worlds, right?
Well, I already did St. George Worlds.
The what?
When I qualified last year, I qualified for last year's St. George.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, all right. Okay. So that's that one. All right. So you got to qualify again for 2022.
Yes, but I probably won't,
Okay.
because I'm not going to do any 70.3s before.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I love this, overview of those races, but let's get to the real serious races. I want to hear more about the Las Vegas Tri Club races that got you to overall. So tell us about the races and tell us how you put those races on your calendar as key events. Those were your A races, right?
Yeah. Actually, so I skipped one of them, to be honest with you, because I was racing California. So
which one did you skip?
So I skipped the aqua bike.
Okay.
Yeah, and I also got really lucky because the weather was it was pretty savage. It was
that was a crazy, windy, hot, smoky day. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I love sprinting. And I love the Las Vegas sprints because you have everyone from, crazy people like, the Justins and Luigi, all the way to, people that it's their first try, and everyone's super friendly out there. And, you just go out there to do you, it's not like we're going out there to get age group prizes or anything like that. It's just kind of to see where you are, see what you can do. And that's why I love them so much, that's
Mhm.
why, you know, and the more you show up to, the more points you get. So,
That's right.
Right.
Well, it's consistency, and yeah, I agree with you. I think that the races are they're as competitive as you want to make them, and we get some really high level people out, including yourself, to do them, and we get people who just doing their first race or just want to experience it. So we get that full range, and I think it's really neat. And the three of us are on the board, so this is stuff that we talk about all the time. Is we want this to be an experience for everyone and not just another race. And so that's pretty neat. But I got to ask you, did you target trying to get overall this year?
no, so actually, to be honest with you, and he's probably watching right now, but what really lit the fire is the last race when, Ted was like, "Hey, you want me to let you win?"
Ooh.
so I could get the series. So I gotta be careful too, because I don't want to make too many enemies. But Colleen was telling me she's gonna take points away because I left my clothes on the floor the other day, so I almost lost it
I
then
love
too.
it.
So, but
Yeah.
yeah, I mean the last race was, I think, probably one of the most competitive for me because we came off the bike in a group and it was just push as hard as you can and let the magic happen, like you would say, right?
Yeah, yes, I love that. Well, you
You
ran a
know that he that
19:35 at that race on 5K.
Yeah, yeah. I was pretty surprised when I saw
Yeah.
my time. I was booking it up that hill because Ted was cruising up the hill. He's a couple hundred yards in front of me. I was like, all right, the hill is where I shine. So
Yeah.
let's try to make it up it. And you know,
Well,
I've
I'm looking at the times. That was the fastest run of the day.
yeah.
That- That's
good job.
impressive. Yeah.
Hey, one of the things that you mentioned, it's really nice having a race like that that's essentially family in it, but it's got its drawbacks, especially whenever your significant other can take away points from from leaving.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's nice, because we do all of our training together. That's
Mhm.
that's one of the great parts about us. We could be more competitive. Yes, we could, strive for more podium stuff like that. But we do it as kind of a relationship thing. We do it together. We do all our training together. We do a lot of our racing together, which is good. But if one of us isn't racing, the other is chirping. You know exactly what to do. So it's great, to have that support system
Mhm.
to help out. And it's she's one of the board members as well for the club. So it's good we can, talk about stuff and, bring out the competitiveness a little bit in the household. So
I love
All
it.
in the family here.
And just so everyone can pick up on part of that story, Colleen is in charge of the point series points, and so obviously she was holding that against Matt. I love it. That's exactly how that should work. All right, so that's awesome, and so yeah, so things, and I think it's important as board members that you're competing in the events as much as helping set up and take down. So thank you for all that work that you do on race day as well. With not only racing but also doing the setup. And it's so great with our club. We get so many people that just start helping out, and it's a good
Mhm.
it's a good way to warm up. So
yeah, yeah. And I mean, it's not very often that you get to design a race like that you're gonna do,
yeah,
you're
yeah,
like, oh yeah, I'm gonna put these racks over here because I'm sure everyone would benefit from it. So
yeah.
and stuff like that. We're gonna put this buoy over here. Let's shorten up the swim a little
Yeah,
bit.
I know there's a rock in the water right here. Let's put the mat over here. So it's like, yeah,
Okay,
Yeah.
so
it's fun.
that's interesting. I want to tease into that a little bit more or dive in that. So when you go to races now, are you looking at the races with a different sort of lens in terms of the setup and what type of things you could bring back to our events. Just curious.
Yeah, totally. I mean, the door swings kind of both directions. Unfortunately, I've become a little more critical of some races, So I'm like, oh yeah, we do it this way. We got this on lock. You guys got to learn from us on this. But then sometimes I'm like, oh man, that's a great idea. We should
That's right.
really implement that in our races. Or, you know, oh, they do this for the course. BBSC is famous for it. They have a different course than us, but it's almost identical course.
Mhm.
So I take some of the stuff that they do and I'm like, oh yeah, that would definitely help out our course. And some of the stuff we do, I'm like, oh, they really need to, adopt that.
Mhm. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's great. And I think it's important that people know that we're very open to hearing any feedback from
Oh, that's a good point.
some adjustments. So yeah, we want it to be not just another race.
And a lot of people can who are new to racing can give the best input, because it's like they see things that affect them and they say, hey, if you made the turn to this happened.
Mhm.
When someone didn't know whether to go under the arch or around the arch when we were coming out of T2, so it's like, oh, so we need to make some good lanes. So yeah, we do get a lot, and we welcome any input for sure.
So Matt, you have really taken some huge strides in your racing ability. As you look back upon the years that you've been racing, and I know it goes all the way back to California and all the races you've done there. I mean, what have been some of the key points that have really led you to getting to the top of this point series?
I mean, definitely Vegas, training in Vegas has helped out a lot because there are no flat routes. But I think one of the biggest key factors is training really consistently. Up until kind of we moved here, we kind of like training was really backburnered in our lives, and we kind of just squeezed in some training here and there. Um, Up until I did Wildflower in 2018, I had not been in a pool to train.
Mhm.
My goal this year is actually I only swim once a week. So and I know some people are shaking their heads because we have some pretty prestigious club members that'll put in 9, 10, 12,000 yards a week. And I haven't consistently swam once a week. So, this year, definitely consistently swimming once a week. If I can add volume on those swims, great. If not, then I need to add in another session.
Yeah.
Because it's by far my weak point.
Right. Where,
So
where do you swim, Matt?
we swim at Desert Breeze. So we live in the Southwest. So we have Aquatic Springs and we have Desert Breeze that are right by us. And it is tough finding lanes around here.
Mhm. Mhm.
So we switched our new swim time to Saturday mornings. Um, and we usually get our own lanes, and can swim as long as we want
Mhm.
on Saturday mornings at Desert Breeze. We were going Friday afternoons, Thursday afternoons. Two things: doing something you don't like at the end of a workday is never fun, and
Hard to get the
this.
motivation for sure.
Yeah, and this. I mean, it was just so busy all the time. They have pretty limited hours, and then they have the sandpipers train there, and they take up 16 lanes.
Yeah.
So if you're not out by the time, so they have a first crew that rolls in at about 3 o'clock, and then they have a second crew that rolls in at about 4 o'clock. You only have that 3 to 4 window of lanes.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah. Have
but
you
Saturday
tried have
mornings
you
it's open. Go
have you
ahead.
tried multi-gen?
Yeah, I mean, so I this kind of goes back to I'm a big baby and I don't like going in the water when it's cold. Um,
Oh yeah, yeah.
so I like the indoor pools. And
Okay.
you know yeah, we'll swim there if we can't get any lanes and stuff works out poorly. Then yeah, we may end up swimming there or swimming at Lifetime. But so far Desert Breeze has been pretty good to us. So
Mhm.
Good deal.
No, that's
Hey,
good, and it is tough when you're trying to get to a workout and then you don't know if you're going to get a lane, and so that makes it hard. But it's neat that you both train together. But maybe talk about some things. I think I see both of you, and you really have a passion for triathlon. You really enjoy it. So, what are some things that you do, maybe purposely, that help make the training and the racing fun?
Good question.
We ride with Rick.
Oh, there you go.
There's never a dull moment when you ride with Rick.
That's
Um,
say no more.
yeah,
And you're
I don't
talking
know.
Rich Stenigem.
Yeah, we just love to train in new places. That's always fun. We like to go. We don't. I don't like to run in the same place over and over again because then your body starts to get those weird niggles from taking the same left turn every 9 miles. Um, so we like to switch up the places quite a bit. Sometimes we'll go out to Corn Creek. Sometimes we'll go to Desert Shores. Sometimes we'll go to Red Rock. Sometimes we'll go to Sunset Park.
Mhm.
Um, and that keeps things more fun, more interesting. Zwift and Ruby definitely. Zwift kind of has that little video game factor to it where you're like, all right, I got to get to the next level because I want the canyon. So my avatar looks cool because everyone's riding a canyon right now. And then, just it calms us down a little bit too. That doesn't necessarily make it more fun, but it makes your lifestyle a little more relaxed, a little healthier.
Mhm.
Keeps you from kind of getting on each other a little bit more, and
Since you mentioned Ruby and Zwift, what percentage you do on the trainer and what on the from your bike, and what percentage you do on the road, especially when you up
so
your volume?
so we don't do a lot of road riding, just for safety purposes.
Yeah.
I probably do. So we do at least one midweek workout on Zwift a week. Um, and then in the winter, we may do longer rides on Zwift. But usually, when you get up to 2, 3 hours on Zwift, it starts to get pretty miserable and we'll start
Yeah.
training outside again.
Oh,
And
So I would say probably 30, 40% on Zwift.
okay. Do you have Ruby?
I used to, but I let it lapse.
Yeah. That's that. I like that better for the longer courses. You can do a 56-mile around it.
Yeah, we have two kickers that are about 3 feet from each other, maybe a little bit more, maybe 4 or 5 feet. And we
Mhm.
were getting a lot of interference, and Ruby doesn't do the best at leveling out your power. So I was getting some massive power fluctuations when we were training at the same time on Ruby. So I switched to Zwift permanently.
Okay. Interesting.
yeah, I didn't know that. That's good. Yeah,
I didn't
and
either.
it's interesting how many uh, uh, systems there are besides Zwift and Ruby that you can get into. But those are clearly two of the most popular ones. So, and Matt, you've been great with even trying to get Las Vegas Tri Club Zwift rides. That's always that's fun.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's super fun. Last year once COVID really took off, we did a bunch of group rides, and it's pretty cool because you can do, there's so many different options. You can do your workout during it. You can stay together. You can race if you want to. You can make other people visible. You can make people, just the group out on the course. So it's a lot of fun to play around with. And everyone, it's a little tough because everyone's at different levels in their training. But you can always do your own training and hey, we're doing a 3 hour ride on Saturday, join up if you want to at 8 a.m. If you only have a 2 hour ride plan, that's fine, just hop off after 2 hours. So it's
Hey,
definitely
thanks.
something we'll do more of too.
Yes. Start putting some of those on the Facebook page so we can jump on with you.
But you're on Ruby.
No, I'm on both. I have Zwift.
Oh,
And Ruby.
you have Zwift
Uh,
too. Okay. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, what Matt got us all to do is add LVTC to your Zwift name, and then
Okay.
it's easy to find each other that way too. And that was a great idea. Matt,
Yeah,
this
and you
is
can just sorry
no,
to cut
no.
you
Go
off.
ahead. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, if you just request to follow me on Ruby, if you can find me, it's just my
Mhm.
name and then LVTC. Um, I'll see it, and when I send out the invites, I just massive click, 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 click all the way down my list.
Got it.
So
Thanks.
Matt, this has been so great to talk with you again. I had questions. I keep a Word document. I keep notes. So last time that we talked, I have the list of questions and your answers, and you did pretty good. You passed. So,
Fast.
so this is great. Congratulations again on being the overall winner. We again, this is a pretty prestigious award, I believe, to be able to earn that over a series of 4 races, and on top of that, to get all world athlete for Ironman.
Mhm.
That's pretty good too. But the point series is the key. So, congratulations on that. Great to talk with you, and great to hear what you've done and where you're going.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thanks a
Thank you
lot.
guys so
Thanks a lot
much.
for being on here. What was that again, Matt?
Oh, I was saying thanks for having me again. It's always
Yeah.
fun. It's always fun to get interviewed. It's always fun to, share your perspective with everyone. And, always, it's always nice to talk to the club. And if you guys, ever have any feedback or anything, or want, have suggestions that the club of things the club can do, don't hesitate to reach out to any of us. We're all ears,
That's
we
right.
all like, we all do triathlons. We all like to, do things. So
Yep.
Yep, that's a good point.
Love the
Yep.
sport. All right, and next time I will find a better shirt to wear.
Yeah, we'll coordinate. All right.
All right. Thanks, both
Thanks,
of
guys.
you. Have a
We'll
good
see you.
evening.
all right, bye.
All right.